Hello and welcome to KSI Marketing Consulting, the onboarding process. If you are starting with us, we want to basically congratulate you. We are super excited to start with you. My team and I, and on behalf of, your team as well, we're excited to work with your team and you as well. So super excited for that. Now, going forward, I want to go ahead and just sort of lay the foundations as to what you can expect. This onboarding process will take you about 60 minutes, roughly 60 to 90 minutes. When you go into the intake form and everything, fill out the intake form completely. Now, a couple other things before we go forward. With most companies, that if you have experienced this with other companies, they'll take about 5 to 6 weeks to onboard you, versus us, we take about 60 minutes, and then the week that we do the research, the copy, and then the analysis and the research and all that development, the R&D and everything. That'll be sort of what you can expect going forward. Yeah. So really, the goal here at KSI Marketing Consulting is to bring you at least a 1 to 5 million extra in revenue on an annual basis, and so going forward, if we're taking you on as a client, you pretty much, the only reason we took you on is because we know that you have foundations in place, the fundamentals that we need to be successful with you as a client, or do what we need to get you to those fundamentals, to build those fundamentals to get you to the point that we need so we can go ahead and scale your business from there. So moving on, one of the biggest problems that we see with a lot of agencies is that they promise pretty much the whole world and deliver nothing. This is a very common theme, and so our mission here is to be the world's most results-driven e-com and info product-based agency, erasing this "I've been burnt before" conversation that most founders have. The vision really is to exceed the limits like most won't, in order to deliver the results like most can. Yeah, so really, why is this important to you? I think as a client, it's important for you to understand that, we're not going to be like every other agency out there that screwed you over before. If we're taking you on, we've literally taken you on because we've seen that you have the fundamentals in place, or the things that we can do for you to get those fundamentals into place in order to get you to the sort of profitability that we can. That's sort of the idea. This is sort of the reason why I've come up with this this whole thing of being results driven. So one thing I want to harp on a little bit more again. The reason we take you on as a client is because we see that your product, everything that you have, your foundation is already in place. There is potential for you to grow as our client, basically. So the reason I say this is because a lot of times, a lot of clients will assume that this is most of it, like advertising is most of it, but it's only 60% of the entire sales process. 40% of that could be your website, your emails, your outreach, your other things, organics, all those other things, right? So again, 60% of it is just advertising, and then obviously your product and other things like that do really count as well. But the reason we've taken you on is because we've seen that you have those fundamentals. We've seen that you have a very good product, which is a very big requirement for us, and then something that we can believe in and something that we can have potential in. Going forward, I just kind of want to go ahead and share with you our approach and sort of detail our approach as to why we are successful, why we are different than other agencies out there, and also kind of explain sort of the methods and the processes that we use and why we do what we do. One big thing that you'll find is that whatever we do is very results oriented. So you can pretty much tell that we put a lot of effort into understanding what Facebook ads, the whole system basically, and how to scale it up time and time again, basically, for various different clients. So yeah, I will walk you through that. Okay, so one thing I want to go ahead and walk you through real quick: the godlike ROI machine, return on investment machine. The main thing here is a foundational CAR, right? And so it's basically understanding your audience. Really, it's our first iteration. So CAR is usually understanding the psychology of your client, understanding what they're attracted to, understanding what repels them, understanding what they're motivated by. That's really the foundation of the audience, or the analysis part, and then the research as well. That kind of ties all into the foundational CAR. Then we want to go ahead and we want to basically bring your ad to market. So we want to bring your product to market by ramping the ads, which will usually be our first iteration. From there, when we start ramping the ads, that'll be our first iteration that's released, and from there we'll go ahead and scale. This is really where we'll get into the nitty-gritty of different ad copy, different images, different creatives, different ad campaigns, targeting different audiences and things of that nature. So just numerous iterations. And then we'll go ahead and we'll get started to tweaking the machine. So essentially at phase 3, we've already figured out your ideal customer and then what also resonates with them as well. So essentially the main focus at this part of the process phase 3 tweaking the machine is that we've collected all the data that we need to. So we've basically collected a bunch of data. Now we have a bunch of data to base off of where we can tweak the machine, go ahead, ramp it down to the exact audience and the exact message that they want to hear. And this kind of, fuels into the next point, which is, phase 4, scaling. And, just that's where we sort of see the exponential curve where we, it's just growing and growing and growing in an upward trajectory. And so, so this is why our system works so well. It's because when we're scaling in on that exponential curve, it's like we're going from 30K, from your profit to 40K to 50K to 60K the following day. So that's sort of the idea. That's sort of the reason that why this works. And it's basically just like a machine, like with the foundational car, the ramping of the ads, the tweaking of the machine, the reiterations and the iterations. It's just basically like a money-making machine, and this is why we work so well. To be fair, it's more of like a, it's pretty much like a feedback loop. So as you can see, like it's just, feedback. One plays into the other, and it's just a machine, and it keeps going and keeps going. And now, obviously, when other ads come in, things like that, and other things, go into place, and the ad stops performing, then we can go ahead take that cold traffic and start ramping up again and scaling on that. And so you're always going to have a consistency of your scaling ads and your conversions. And so this is why our process works really well. And this is how we're able to add, a 1 million to 5 million at the end of the bottom line to each client. So going forward, I want to take you guys about the process a little bit. So some of the previous accounts, as you can see here. So total spent was 7,444 euros, and then the total earned was 29,189 euros. This was a whiskey product. We did it online and ran Facebook ads from there. Okay, I want to show you some previous accounts as well. I'm going to actually move this up. So as you can see here, so total sales is 146,000 euros, 109 and 277 online store sessions. And so you can see basically everything here. And you can see the average order is down, but again, we're up here, so we're still profiting, and that's the main thing. Over here, you can see the same thing, similar, $143,000. So I just wanted to share these guys with you. Okay, so as you can see here, these are like the conversion scaling. So we went from spending 5,000 to earning 27,000 euros. A 4.9 average, 9.6. And once we go into month 3, and as we ramp up the conversions and we ramp up the scaling up the ads, we'll go into numbers even much higher than that, and up to 12, 15, and even higher than that. Again, we're going to be working on getting you as the best results as we can possibly. The standard you can hold us up to, guys, is the communication. We have 2 main ways of communicating. So on a daily basis, communication will be held in Slack and in your designated Slack channel. You may add anyone involved from your team, and all communication done outside of this will be completely ignored. The reason for this is just basically to create all the communication centralized in one place. It just makes it so much easier for my team, for us to keep everything in there. For example, if I have someone messaging me on Instagram, someone messaging me on Facebook Messenger, and then obviously on Slack or WhatsApp and things of that nature, it just gets too scattered. I rather for the sake of us making sure that communications one of the biggest points in business, I think, and making sure that everything's streamlined as well. It just makes it so much easier to have everything all in one place. So besides Slack, we also will be conducting bi-weekly meetings to discuss the progress and new ideas we want to implement. This comes with promotions, things of that nature, and stuff like that. Pretty much anything that is in need for more of dialogue for us to understand, which just makes it so much easier. And we'll set these calls up on our strategy session. So what we'll do on the strategy sessions, once we have that strategy session, we will set up every 2 weeks. For us to keep you in the loop, what we'll do is we'll also be reporting. So every Monday, you will get a 5 to 10 minute video Loom update with a detailed explanation of the past week, what we did and why we did it, and the results we got from that. And then from your designated account manager. And what we'll also do is include the plan for the week ahead, and how we're going to reiterate the ads and stuff like that, if we're going to run new campaigns and other things of that nature. In addition to the weekly video updates, you also have access to your ads manager results being updated every 24/7. You can go into the back end and just check it out there. This is very, very important. Actually, we're going to be basically like the octopus of your business. As mentioned before, we'll throw ideas at you left and right and center. New funnels, new sales processes, new emails, ideas, and new creative ideas. At the end of the day, however, you're the owner and you will ultimately have the final say. Same goes for any ad copy we place. You will have the final say before we submit the ad. What we can expect from you, we can expect bi-weekly calls. Please allow at least 24 hours in advance for any cancellations. Obviously, this excludes any emergencies. at least still notifies us in case of emergency. The only reason I put this in there is just in case, for whatever reason you have an emergency. And I know this goes without saying. Please be respectful and considerate towards my team and I. My team is at the top of the marketing chain and are used to being treated that way. So all we ask for is you treat them that way. And I appreciate, in advance you guys doing that. The way your ideal customer, essentially just imagine your ideal customer and just treat us that way. And treat us the way they would treat you. We want to make this a prosperous partnership, so we want to make sure that whatever we do, we're going to make sure it's as transparent as possible. That's the biggest key for us, is to make everything as transparent as possible, so that way this is a prosperous partnership for both you and for both of us. And we want to take it that way. Okay, so couple notes here. Be inquisitive. If you don't understand certain aspects of the way we approach, or simply why we did that or this or that, ask questions. This happened many times in the past when I talk to them a little bit further and just try to understand why they're saying that. It's usually because they don't understand what's actually going on. Once I explain it to them, then they understand it. So it's like, rather than just making assumptions or assuming things, go ahead, just ask questions. It makes it so much easier for the communication between you and between I. So we're essentially marketing nerds who'd love to indulge you in what and why we do what we do. So as we move forward, you will start to comprehend why we do what we do. Hence, that's great for a long-term sustained relationship. See, this is what happens a lot of times with clients, is what they'll do is everything will be going well. And 3 months in, they'll be like, ooh, we're not cheap. So they're like, oh, you know what? If I can get, so-and-so in-house to do the ads for us, we can just maintain the ads and we can spend less money, and we can take it from there and just keep it going. And that's all well and great, but the problem is half the time is when those ads start to decline, that's usually when the in-house person doesn't know how to react or how to sustain that. And so if just sticking with us, we're able to, we've been through all of it, to be honest with you. We've been doing this for 7 years. We've been through a lot of it. So we can determine whether or not that this is, whether this is going well or that's not going well. So that's the whole idea. A lot of the clients that we've been with, they benefit so much more in the long run. And it's just like, I want to emphasize as much as I can, but it's just a great partnership that we have. So as mentioned earlier, trusting the process, this can be many times a big factor in client success. This also plays a big key role in our success to scale ads, because we simply unplug from emotion, bringing a ruthless and logical approach to skills we display. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I have done anything in my personal life or my professional life, and I've done it from a place of emotion, it's just never gone well. So this is why I emphasize, unplug emotion. Clients who have been with us for 18 plus months, I've actually mentioned this earlier, but clients who've been with us 18 plus months are yielding the best results, as our mission is to essentially add an additional 1 to 5 million in revenue to our clients' bottom line. If you can trust the process off the bat, then this will allow us to triple down on what we do best. I do say this a lot of times because clients will not understand exactly what they're going into, and a lot of the clients that we do take on, to be honest, is like they're running their own Shopify store, and they've been running ads, and they've been doing it for a couple of years, or they've been doing it for 6 months, and they've had some mild success, but they haven't had the amount of success that we're able to bring in, because we solely focus on this. This is like our main priority. And so that's why they take us in, and then we go ahead and we scale it up to 1 to 5 million a year. So like I mentioned before, and this is really important. This is actually where I meant to say this. So this was like, don't try to fix something that isn't broken. Again, this goes back to that point that I was saying earlier, which is, when clients try to go ahead and they decide to go get someone in-house because, quite expensive. And so they hire someone in-house, and then, they get them running ads for them. And then once those ads drop off, they don't know how to rescale them up. And, that's sort of the idea. So I think I kind of mentioned this already and dove into it. You guys get the idea, so you can take it from there. It's truly time to scale your business with the most targeted, trackable, and profitable machine on earth, Facebook ads. Guys, I know this is going to be such an exciting partnership for both you and both us, and we are super, super excited to get started with you. So I really, really want to thank you for being here and for also just listening to my video and, making sure that you understand everything that's going to be happening going forward. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in the next slide.